everybody. I'm Kimber from the Backyard Horse Enthusiast, and welcome to another episode and wonderful interview with the founder of the Human Animal Alliance, Ms. Jackie Ducci. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. We welcome you, and I hope you enjoy this video and interview. And for more information regarding the work that Jackie does for the Human Animal Alliance, there'll be links in the description box, and feel free to reach out to Jackie for any information or to make donations and to learn more about what she's doing with this 501c3. Thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm well, Jackie. How are you? And welcome to the Backyard Horse Enthusiast.
Thank you. I'm just closing my email so it doesn't keep dinging on us. Hold on 1 second.
Do what you got to do. I did the very same thing.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, I was made aware of your mission and you through
Yeah,
a friend who I believe you were a recruiter.
I was. Yeah, 17 years in the recruiting business. So it was a long run.
Yeah. And he reached out because he knows about my mission here, Hope for Humans and Horses. And he said, I think you two would have so much in common and you should check out her website and reach out to her. So that's where it started only a few short days ago. And I'm so grateful that he connected us because I'm fascinated, intrigued, and moved by what it is you're doing here. And
Thank you. Mhm.
I'm going to begin by asking you, when did this begin for you, the Human Animal Alliance? Where did this idea come from? How, share.
So it's actually been several years in the making in a way. I mean, it's something I've thought about doing for a really long time. And, when I was recruiting, that was my career, but I always felt like I didn't really have a connection to it. It was just sort of what I knew and it was what was working for me, but it wasn't very heart-centered, right? And so in the back of my mind, I was always like, well, I know I'll start a charity, maybe a foundation, something like that someday. And I always visualized it was going to be, oh, when I retire or who knows, like sometime down the road. And then in the last couple of years, I just really hit a wall with the recruiting where I was like, I'm just done. I can't see myself doing this forever anymore. And why not now to just start embracing a project that's going to actually mean something to me and I'll have more years of my life to put good into the world through it as opposed to waiting another 20 years. Like, why not now? So that's why I guess the timing happened that way. But as far as animals go, I mean, they've meant so much to me throughout my entire life, and we can talk all about that. But yeah, it was just, I always knew it would be animal related if and when I did it.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. It's a big undertaking, I have to say. I'm not a 501c3. I'm an equine gestaltist. So what we do as equine gestaltists is we partner with our horses to heal trauma in humans. We believe that everyone holds their own answers. It's a matter of finding them, and animals are just amazing in helping you do that. So I co-facilitate with not only my clients, but my equine friends,
Mm.
um, really do some amazing work. So I get the the connection for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, they're incredible beings. They really are. And I think until people can experience it for themselves, like some of us that grew up with horses and with animals, inherently we just sort of get it because we've lived it. But I think for so many other people that haven't had that exposure, it's really life-changing for them when they get the opportunity. So I'm sure you run into that all the time.
Absolutely. I have a friend of mine. She's a healer. I put her up there with like a shaman. She
Yeah.
travels the world. She just spent the last 2 years in New Mexico, learning quantum healing.
Wow.
And yeah, and she returned back to Connecticut because this is where her husband resides. And she's like, I need some Kimber and I need some horses.
Mhm.
And she came out and experienced something she'd never experienced before with one of my mares, Luna, and tears.
Mhm.
And I've never felt this. And all the work I've done over the years, I've never felt this moved. I'm going to bring everyone here to experience this. And she
Mhm.
was home for a short window of time, but came here every weekend for 3 weeks in a row
Wow.
to spend time with the horses because
Yeah.
that's how powerful they are.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I was moved in listening to your story um, about your childhood, and
Yeah.
thank God for the connection.
Ah, I know it's crazy. I mean, I guess I'll briefly tell the story. I mean, when I was young, I was super introverted, like very quiet. And it was just, I mean, I had friends. I wasn't a recluse or anything like that, but I think I was just like a shy kid. And, in school, I just was hammered constantly by these teachers. It was private school, so they were very big on, group discussions and,
Mm.
how much you participated in class would affect your grade. And, they just really valued the loudest person in the room. And I just naturally was the quietest person in the room. And it didn't mean that I wasn't as intelligent. I was just a different personality type. And so I remember like really struggling with that, and year after year after year, just being told, you're not good enough. Why are you not more like the kid sitting next to you? Like constantly. And I just really had a hard time with that, and was told at one point that I would not be successful in life by a certain teacher. And I think about that now, I'm like, oh my God, if a teacher said that to a kid nowadays, like, can you imagine? But it's a true story. And throughout all of that, I just remember I would come home from school and I would go be with my horses and I would ride. And it was like that was the one window of my day where I was enough. And I was with a being that was like, you know what, you're good. And I like you. And by the way, I'm bonding with you and we don't have to talk. The connection was completely nonverbal. And it just, I really credit that to giving me the self-confidence that I developed then and that I have now, because without that, I really don't know how I would have turned out, frankly.
Absolutely. I think your horses, or whichever one you had the connection with, or maybe more at that time, they're so honest. They don't hold grudges. They're in the moment. But without that, I think you would have swallowed whole the
Mm,
introject that was told to you, because
definitely.
we're like sponges when we're children. What we're told is what we believe about ourselves,
Yep.
and we should be valued just based on for what we are in all our authenticity, not based on oh well, you got to fit this criteria and that and that and that, and stereotype people and try to fit them into these perfect forms that they can wrap their head around. And it's so unfair and creates a lot of emotional issues for people.
Well, yeah, and I think when you're young, it's like you just assume that adults know everything, right? You're like, well, if they said it, it must be true. And so that was a lot of what I struggled with was, wow, these are, not just adults, but they're in authority positions because they are teachers and they are administrators. And so they must really know what they're talking about. And
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it was a tough one. And I always say, everybody's trauma is relative, right? There are a lot more people in this world that have been through way worse than I have. And that's also why this is so fascinating to me, because even in a situation like mine, seeing the impact that those horses had on me, I can only imagine for somebody that's been an abuse victim or been through something really horrendous. Like, yeah, I mean, I cannot imagine the impact that they would have on someone like that. So it's fascinating.
Life changing, life
Yeah.
changing. I spent 20 years in and out of therapy, mostly to
Mm,
get to the bottom, to the root of what made me tick based on
yeah.
that trauma. but it was through the equine gestalt program, through going out to Colorado countless times to do personal work, that every piece, you worked it, you metabolized it, you met it head on, and you left it in the dirt in the arena. You were done with it. And you got light. After each piece of work, you felt lighter and lighter and more authentic. We as humans don't realize how much trauma exists in the world, and that 90% of the population are just adult children, right? They're bringing generational trauma forward, and it just keeps going. So people like you that are discovering, knowing this what this bond does for human and animals, for humans, you are helping break that generational trauma so that we can have a healed world, which is what we're in dire need of right now. Well, always have, but
I think healing and authentic connection in general, like that is just something I feel so strongly about. And, animals are a great vehicle for that, but it's also connection with other humans. And I think that's part of why animals are so amazing. Like some of my closest human relationships on this planet are because we've connected over horses or dogs, or the animals just have this way of bringing people together. And when you get the bond, you bond even more deeply with those humans. But I just think this world, like, we need more authentic, deep connection of any kind. And I just think that's a big part of the reason I'm doing this work with the charity, because I think animals are just such a perfect way to facilitate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So this is the Human Animal Alliance has been out there on the web for how long? How long has it been a 501c3?
Well, so it took us about a year to go through the setup process. So as somebody who's owned a business, setting up a nonprofit was 10 times more complicated, maybe more. I really underestimated the complexity of it and how much goes into it. So about a year ago was when I filed the initial paperwork and started the process going. Then it was, the branding and the legal documents and the website and everything else. So we just had our big public launch just a couple of weeks ago. I mean,
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, I know how difficult the endeavor is. In fact, Melissa Pierce, the founder of Touched by a Horse and the program that I completed, really strongly advised, she sits on a board of directors for a 501c3, and she's like, I need you to all be educated first.
Yeah.
This is not easy. And I've taken multiple courses, and I still can't just, fire. I can't. I'm still very concerned. And I too I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've owned many businesses, from spas to hair salons to cleaning and concierge services. And this scares the heck out of me.
Yeah.
So I commend you. That is no small undertaking.
Thank you.
Wow. And I really wish you so much success in this. And I want to be able to collaborate with you to help drive more people your way, because this is so super important to me. And I, like you, if it weren't for, I grew up with horses. My father owned a huge riding stable when I was a child. So, I cut my teeth on a horse.
Yeah.
But I also, suffered a lot of abuse as well. And if not for those beautiful horses, I don't think I would have made it. I think I would have been a statistic versus an anomaly.
Wow. I got chills when you said that. I think, yeah, it's crazy. And I think there are so many people out there that would say the same.
Absolutely. I have a daughter who has severe bipolar disorder, and after every hospitalization goes into deep depression. every time she comes home, it's been a few years since she's quite successful. You know, she has her degree from Northeastern, owns her own business, but prior to that, a lot of hospitalizations. And every time she comes home, I need to go sit with the horses.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a rider. She never was, unlike
Wow.
my eldest daughter. She knows the impact they have, and they will come over, and they are the best Reiki healers on the planet, bar none.
Yeah.
They scan up, down, give, receive, let. It is amazing. And every time after she spends an hour with them, she'll say to me, I feel loads lighter.
Wow. Wow.
It's to witness it, and people show up all the time, visitors. I just need to spend some time, and that's it. They're not even for coaching.
Yeah.
We have that, but just to sit and
Mm.
let the horses work their magic.
Wow. That's
It's
amazing.
yeah, yeah. So what kind of events do you have coming up for fundraising and that?
Yeah, so we're just putting that plan together. So our plan is to have one event in Wellington, Florida, which is where I live, and anyone that knows anything about horses knows Wellington is sort of the capital of the country when it comes to horse related showing and things like that. So we're going to have one fundraiser here and then one in North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, because that's where my one employee lives and she's got a great network up there. So those will be our two sort of flagship events. I'm also having a lot of people coming to me saying, we want to be supportive. Can we help host something? So we're doing all over the country as opportunities come up, very small, intimate, kind of in-home, either dinner party or cocktail party kind of fundraisers. So those will be more, people and their individual networks pulling people in, helping us get the word out. So it could be quite a few events actually. I'm still looking for people all over who are willing to host things like that, but the two that we will put on. Okay, great. I'll come to Connecticut.
Definitely. We're working on the property now. We're going to put up some Airbnb yurts and teepees so that people can bring their horses here as well. But we'd like to host retreats and also events for people from all around the country
Great.
to come here and reach a different part of the country.
That's fantastic. Well, as you know, I was born and raised in Connecticut and have a network up there too. So if you want to do something together, I'm all about it.
Wonderful. That is
Yeah.
wonderful. What's on the closer horizon right now? What's your focus?
So getting grants out right now is really what we're most focused on. And what I'm trying to do is follow what's happening in the world and then sort of adjusting as we go. So for example, here in Florida, everybody knows Hurricane Ian just blew through here in October and devastated the west coast of Florida. And the impact on animals has been just awful. There's been so many pets that are displaced or injured from that. And so we started looking into charities here on the ground in Florida that specialize in not rescue, but more reunifications of pets with owners. So, because one of our pillars in our mission is keeping people and animals together. We're not a rescue. It's all about kind of keeping the animals in their homes when you can. So that really is meaningful to me. So we gave some money to some groups that's what they were focused on post hurricane, which was fantastic. Next, because we're in recession right now, I keep hearing all these stories about so many people that have animals that are surrendering them because they cannot afford them. And it's awful. These are elderly people. These are people that are moving that can't afford the pet deposit at their new apartment, whatever the case may be. These are owners that do not want to give up animals, but they're having to. And the shelters are overcrowded as it is. So anything we can do to kind of help people hold on to the animals they have for now, I think for the next couple of months, that's going to be our next focus.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can see where many are seeing hardships to a point they haven't seen in decades.
Yeah.
And I spoke with another 501c3. She is a rescue, and she said she had over 180 horses in her.
Wow. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how bad it is. And we're heading into a winter that we don't know. We don't know if there's going to be enough diesel to bring hay
Yeah.
and grain in and all of that. It's the same story. Everyone I speak to that has animals,
Mhm.
especially horses or livestock, are saying
Yeah.
the same thing. I'm trying to load up and stock up on hay and never mind grain, just hay, at the very least,
Mhm.
and then keep their homes heated and all of that.
Yeah.
And we don't want our animals to suffer.
Right.
Um, that's the worst thing. And to have to be separated from your beloved pet
Mhm.
that is what provides you with emotional support, then what?
Right.
Then what?
Yeah.
We're really leaving a mess in our wake if we're not willing to help and open our eyes to what's needed out there. So I commend you.
Thank
Oh my
you.
gosh. It would have been, so much easier to just, turn a blind eye and keep recruiting and not, you wouldn't feel fulfilled, but you wouldn't, I can
Yeah.
only imagine the heartache you're witness to as well
Yeah.
on a daily.
It's a funny thing because on the one hand, you feel like you're doing a lot of good and that's amazing, but it also opens your eyes to how much you can't do because there's just so much in this world that needs to be done. And so it's sort of a double-edged sword, but I guess that's just part of part of doing this and that's okay. So
Well, I think our circle is growing ever bigger
mm,
around the planet, as far as awakening to the needs out there and the healing work that has to be done. And I hope that we can all continue to um, oh, there's mine in the background. Can you hear her barking?
that's it. Mine's snoring. I hope you can't hear.
I think she loves her chickens. So they're out in the
Oh,
backyard. I'm sure she's like, I gotta go outside and go play with my chickens.
that's funny.
Oh, she loves them. She thinks they're her puppies.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. I do apologize. Thank God
that's
for
okay.
editing tools.
No worries. You were talking about awakening, like people kind of
Yeah, and there are more and more and more of us that are coming together and that are realizing that there's more to life than, going after that paycheck and having stuff and things and just
yeah.
tons of material possessions that don't fill your soul,
Hmm.
you know, not like forming alliances with animals and humans. And I'm fascinated that you took on so much. Like this isn't just horse and human, this is a lot.
Well, it's the human animal bond is really what it all comes back to. And, when I wrote the mission statement, I thought, you know what, this is really cool because the bond is really central. And then it gives us the freedom to, think a little more broadly. As long as it always comes back to that one piece, then we're, operating in alignment with our mission. So I think I did that a little bit intentionally. So.
Nice. I liked it. I was actually, when Bernie reached out to me and sent me your email address, I just assumed it was horse. It was just
Mm,
all horse. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at that. Cats,
yeah.
dogs, next thing you know, there'll be a goldfish.
Okay. Well, because I think everybody connects differently too. Like, I mean, I was lucky enough to have horses growing up, but I know plenty of kids that had similar stories to mine and really loved their dog,
Yeah,
so it's all, I mean, I think horses are in a class all their own personally because they're just different, but that anybody that can benefit from that bond knows what we're talking about and it's special.
absolutely. Absolutely. And those that have never experienced it. And that's why I invite everyone, anyone who shows any interest in what I'm doing here to just come
Mhm.
out and sit,
Yeah.
experience it. It's like no other, you know. But hey, we laugh a goldfish, but years ago I had the cutest little betta that was on my dining room table, and literally this little fish would float up to the top, and I could scratch its back.
Really?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. when I would eat dinner, I'd make sure he was right in between our plates and I'd light a candle. And that thing was so social. And
Wow.
oh my gosh, I bawled like a baby when it finally passed. It lived a long time. I was
Yeah.
surprised. But you would have thought it was a dog, a cat, a horse, or whatever, but we bonded. So
Yeah.
it can be anything. My chickens, I pick them up, kiss them, hug them. When I walk out the back door, they greet me like I'm like, oh my gosh, look at my audience, a bunch of chickens, but look
Right.
at them. So
Yeah.
yeah, it makes my heart just whoa. So
Yeah.
is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I guess to piggyback on that point, I think it's so special. You know, I always say animals make us better people. And that's something that we don't always think about, but like, you know, you and I grew up on farms, so we know these feelings of, you know, connection and whatnot with the animals. But for people that have never been exposed, this is on my list of things to, you know, to help with down the road. But I just think that, you know, getting animals in front of more people in general is something that would make the world a better place, not to sound cheesy, but truly, like, I just really firmly believe that.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, I hope that we continue. Not I hope it's going to happen. We continue with this friendship, and
Mm,
I mean it when I say I would love to offer an event here.
thank you. I would love to take you up on
Absolutely.
it.
Could do a pop-up dinner and
Yeah,
um, certainly, I would love to support you
thank you.
in that way. I think what you're doing is beautiful. My
Thank you.
heart, I cried when I read your mission, when I visited every page multiple times, and I'll continue to do it. I'm um, so moved by
Mhm.
this, and anything that I can do to help support you, I will. And I thank you. I thank you for being here. I thank you for sharing, and I hope we can touch base again in a few months and see how things are going. And I know it's going to be nothing but great news.
Thank you. Yeah, we have big plans, so
I'm sure. I'm impressed, Jackie.
thank
I
you.
am so impressed with
Thank you.
just having the tenacity to go after this. I know personally how difficult this endeavor had to be to start. So I know that this is definitely done from your heart and your
It is, you know, that's a great point. You know, I think there's being pushed to do things and there's being pulled to do things. And this is hard work, but I'm being pulled to do it. And I think I've been pulled to do it for a really long time. And it hasn't felt like the same type of work that I used to do before, if that makes sense. Like this is truly like my life's mission. So I know where I'm supposed to be and I'm excited for who I can help. So
you embody that. You embody the authenticity of your
thank you.
mission. And
Thank you.
I'm grateful for people like you. I know that you are going to have a huge impact on this
Thank you.
world, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. Well, it was great to connect with you, and it's always amazing to talk to other people who get it. So much
Absolutely.
appreciated.
Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch soon.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.